Welcome everybody to the March meeting, the Detroit Area Woodturners. We've got friends from all over the world with us today. Again, Australia, the UK, Canada, Alaska, and that's fantastic. That's just great. So a lot to cover today. I'm going to get right into it. First off, I'd like to see if we've got any guests with us today. If you are a guest with us today, please unmute and give us your name. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Any guests? What about new members that joined in the last week or so? I know we've had a few of them. Everybody's shy. That's okay. Either way, welcome. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Those of you here in Michigan and other parts of the Midwest and so on, you may know Ron Campbell. Ron Campbell has a yearly hands-on wood turning retreat where you actually step up to the lathe and do the work rather than just sit in a room and watch somebody else do it. He had to cancel last year. He is going with it again this year. It's on June 10th, 11th, and 12th. And registration is limited to 100. I think he's at about 50 right now. So if you're interested in attending that, you're going to want to get onto his Facebook page, which is Campbell's Hands-On Retreat, and contact him and find out how to get your registration fee to him. He's doing everything on PayPal this year. And if you do join, I look forward to seeing you there. I'll be there this year. Again, we're still looking for workshop volunteers for 2021. Our meetings and demos are booked for the year with a combination of members and pro turners. We're going to have 3, maybe 4 pro turners this year doing demos. So you're going to see me doing the demo today, so I'm going to take precedence on the camera the whole time. But you're going to see exactly what I've been talking about. All you need is a telephone to do it. I had a fancy camera set up that I've been spending a lot of money getting all set up and everything. Works beautiful up through last night. This morning I come down and put in my computer and turned everything on and none of the cameras work. So I am using my cell phone. Great backup. And it'll be a little weird with lighting, but we'll get that worked out too. So if, you know, and don't worry if you think it's something that somebody else has done. Everybody's got a different perspective on things. So we would love to see you show us something in a workshop and teach us so that we can work together with you at the same time. For those of us that have Wi-Fi in our shops, just contact Cindy Yates, let her know. If you've got any questions about that or concerns, please contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions and concerns and hopefully ease the concerns and put you at ease. And hopefully we'll see your smiling face showing us how to do something. And you know, even us old timers can learn some things. You never stop learning. So that's my monthly plea. We need volunteers for the workshops. COVID continues, of course. We're starting to lighten up now. We're seeing lightening up on restrictions, and as long as the third wave doesn't sweep through Michigan, you know, that may continue on and things start opening up even more. So with that in mind, the next topic I'm going to talk about is, you know, we are in need of a home, so we still can't meet face-to-face. But our plans is, the board and I've discussed this, and come July, if we can't meet face-to-face yet, either because we don't have a home or because restrictions are in place that doesn't allow us, or if the restrictions are lightened up where we can do it, our thought is we're going to rent a place and have a get-together. Just everybody come together, bring stuff to show off that you've been working on, bring stuff that you're having problems with, get ideas, and it'll be a potluck type of thing. So we're planning that for July, so long as we can do that. And as the time goes on, I'll keep you updated on that, but it would be nice to see everybody live again. I think everybody agrees with that. So,
hey Jeff, can I bring up something for a second?
Yeah.
Is this a possibility? This came to the top of my head. The city of Oak Park has a park that has gazebos with picnic tables, and it might be possible, and I'll check into it this week, that we could rent one of those gazebos during the summertime where it's outdoors, everybody can enjoy themselves. We can possibly bring a lathe and plug it into their electricity for a demonstration. I'll check into that this week.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Oak Park doesn't work. I've already checked it out. They rent those gazebos from, let's say 10 to 1, and then from 2 to 5. No layover of time. They push you right out, because we were talking about it for one of the club picnics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a nice idea.
Star
Okay, scratch that idea.
Star JC Park from Royal Oak has gazebos. I don't know if they have electricity, but they have in their park near Woodward and 13 Mile Road.
Yep.
Has a park. It's called Star JC.
Can you call the Parks and Recreation and check with them and see what their rules are?
I'll do it Monday.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know, that I didn't think about that. I will call the Troy Parks Commission because we have a lot of parks here with a lot of gazebos. And last I knew, it was on a first come, first served basis. So if somebody got there at 7 in the morning because they want to do a family picnic, you were stuck. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. But I'll check with them on it to see if they have any new rules because of COVID. So, anyways, that's the plan. And we'll, as we get closer to that, we'll keep you appraised on everything. So as you all know, we're still looking for a new home. We're starting to get more of a list together of places to look at.
Mike has something to say.
Oh,
Yeah, did you check, you talking about Troy, you got Firefighters Park that has a lot of facilities, and also Rain Tree Park up on John R.
right. I haven't checked anything. I didn't even think about the parks till it just came up. But I've been at picnics at the Firefighters Park, and it's a nice gazebo and it's nicely shaded.
Stony Creek might be a good option.
That's a possibility too. So I'll check into the Troy stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else then?
Yeah, is there any update? We were looking for a more permanent home. Wasn't Roger heading that up? Is there any progress on any of
Well,
that?
I was just starting to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So can I move on to that now? Okay, good. Anyways, so as you know, we're looking for a new home. We're starting to get a list together. Roger's been looking at locations. Ray Fraze has been working in the background on some locations, which is great because Ray and Roger are really the ones that got us into the Pontiac Creative Arts Center. Paul Zirkel and David Alar, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. They took the time to make a map of where all of our members live. And it kind of confirmed what we were thinking on the board, that Pontiac is the most central spot for all of us. So that's kind of like where we're looking, but places like Royal Oak is not out of the question. The trick is, when we went to the Pontiac Creative Arts Center, we were a lathe and a TV and members in the store. After getting the Pontiac Creative Arts Center, we grew into having a shop with 7 lathes and a drill press and a bandsaw. So we need a lot more space. We want to find a place that we can have a meeting area and at the same time have a workshop either in the same building or another building. That would be the best case scenario if we can find that. Steve and I are looking at a location like that this week. It's out in Commerce Township though, and that's one of the concerns that I have. However, to do absolutely the best case scenario, we may have to do something like that where some members will have to drive farther. Now, when we were at Sagebrush, that was a bit of a drive for some people. So we may have to go back in that, into that thought pattern. But our goal is to get something as centralized as possible with everything together, or a meeting site and a separate site for our workshop. The other concern we have to work with is funds. We don't want to break the bank. We have been very lucky between our previous location and Pontiac Creative Arts Center to have a unbelievably low rent. And we're still trying for that, but we don't know what is out there. We don't know if people are willing to talk about lower rent. We don't know. We're going to do like we did with Pontiac, and we're going to make our services available if they need any work or anything. So we really need you as the members to help us find places. And by find places, I mean find the places and contact them and get a contact name and number for us and let us know who that is so that we can get a hold of them and see the location.
What's the perimeter for the rent?
Bigger pardon?
Perimeter for the rent, the amount?
Well, right now, when we were at Pontiac Creative Arts Center, we were paying $1,100 a year. We'd like to try to stick with that. We know we may have to go up. And the unfortunate thing is if we have to go up, we may even have to raise dues, which is something we've not done since I've been here, which is 2011. But that's why we're trying to get something as low rents as possible. So I think the most important thing right now is to get us the contact information, and then we can talk to them about that, and we can do negotiations and so on.
Hey, Jeff, what is the size? I know that we are looking for something with a shop space,
Yeah.
and as well as for meeting space. So because I've got a lead on a couple of places that have a wood turning shop in them, because Ray was over here and was telling me about it, but I don't know how much space you guys are actually looking for.
Okay, well, I was just getting ready to get into that.
Sorry.
So if anybody wants to jot this down, our meeting sizes are usually 50 to 70 people. So we would have to have chairs for 50 to 70 people and space, of course. The stage was great at Pontiac Creative Arts Center, but it's not a necessity. I can't see that being a make or break type of thing. Our previous location, we didn't have a stage or a platform, and that worked out well. We just physically outgrew it. So plan on 50 to 70 people. The workshop, Chuck, what do you think that was? About 15 by 25?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's about the size of our workshop. You know, enough to safely get, 7 lathes in there and the other equipment. And then, of course, a room to store our TV and our lathe, our main lathe that we use for demos. If we have to store that off-site, that's fine, but we would prefer it all on site. So the best case scenario is all in one building or 1 or 2 buildings, so long as we can get a good price on it and be able to negotiate a lease and so on. Let's see.
And if somebody is looking, Jeff, can, please don't, try to make any deals on behalf of our board. Please
Right.
Just do what Jeff said and get us the name and number only.
Yeah, and let them know that somebody from our board will be contacting them. And Wi-Fi, we want to continue Zoom after we're back to meeting face-to-face. So Wi-Fi is important. But again, it's not a deal breaker. There's ways of getting around no Wi-Fi in the building. There's ways of doing that using cell service. So, but Wi-Fi is an important one. So I think that really kind of sums it up. So if you as members can help us by finding these locations and getting the contact name and telephone number for us, greatly appreciate that. It looks like Bob Elliott's trying to get back in. And the sooner we get this done, just because we can't meet now doesn't mean we shouldn't be working at getting an arrangement going with somebody, so that when this whole pandemic mess is over with, we can walk right into the new location, or even have our summer little get together at. So, are there any questions on looking for a new home? And don't forget to unmute if you have a question.
Yeah, Jeff?
Get it closer to Ann Arbor.
Beg pardon?
Get it closer to Ann Arbor.
You heard that part where Pontiac is central to all of us, right, Eric?
Yep.
Yeah,
Jeff,
Jeff, I would make the comment that, a lot of people come up with creative ideas like, we should look into churches, we should look here, we should look there. What we really need is people to go look for us. I understand Chuck's comment about don't try to negotiate, but when people come back and they give us comments like, we should go look in this area, or we should go look in, some industrial parks that might be vacant. That really doesn't do us much good. What we need are people to come back and say, this place
specifically is available and it meets a lot of, if not all of, our requirements. And then we can go take it from there and go negotiate prices and whatnot. But coming out with, I've seen this at least a half a dozen members have come back and said, well, we should go look at some particular area. And that doesn't buy us anything. I mean, we can look at 1,000 areas. We need specifics.
Well, that's why I say I also want them to get, you know, if you see or know of an area that would be good, get a hold of them and get us a contact name so we can contact them and go out and see it. Just telling us that you should go here. You know, I've had a lot of people tell me, go check out the senior citizen facility in Royal Oak because the Michigan woodworkers meet there. Well, I've talked to the president of the Michigan woodworkers and he says it doesn't matter because you can't go in there now anyways because of COVID. After him and I talked, you know, we're not necessarily certain that would be a good location. I don't know. So we're going to pursue that. But yeah, I don't want to just get, well, we should look here. I want a name and a contact and if possible, an address so that we can go there. And the main thing is that it's a space that will handle 50 to 75 people. That's how, you know, that's the average for our club meetings, especially in the winter months.
Jeff, the other thing is maybe we look for someplace temporary and keep on looking for, you know, a permanent home while we at least have someplace to go.
Right, and that may be something we have to do. But we still have the same parameters there, 50 to 70 people or 75 people. So don't come back and tell me that so-and-so has a banquet room, you know, a restaurant or anything. You know, you're not going to get that at a good price and they're going to expect you to buy food. I've been through that with other clubs that met at banquets, halls and stuff like that. You know, yeah, wherever we go may be a temporary situation. The goal is to get us into meeting face-to-face again. And if we can do that in a permanent location, that's the best. So anything else, folks?
Yeah, Jeff, I think that one of the requirements that we really do need also is parking.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a given. If you've got 50 to 75 people, you got to have parking for 50 to 75 people. And that was kind of an iffy thing at Pontiac Creative Arts Center, but it kind of worked out that we had some other parking lots in the area that we could utilize. But yeah, that's very important.
Should we put together, I guess we haven't done this yet, but we probably should put together the requirements and wish list items on a sheet of paper we can share so people know exactly what we're looking for, not speculating?
Yeah, I kind of sent that out in the email for this meeting. But we could put something together and send it out to everybody. Is that what you're talking about, Chuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. We could probably include in there, you know, I don't know if we need to get into it with people just looking for a spot, but you know, electrical requirements of the shop. We have very specific electrical requirements that we'll have to take care of. But yeah, I'll tell you what, Chuck, what I'll do is I'll put together something and I'll send it out to the board and have you guys add or take away anything that you feel necessary, and then we'll get that out to the members. Sound good? Okay, anything else?
Yep. I was going to say, Jeff, if it's just in a, you know, not like, you know, the rest of the meeting, put it just in a letter. This is what we need. Because I know there's a few of us that are very actively looking for places.
Right.
And that way we can just print it out off of an email.
Yep.
And, you know, talking to people, that way we know, it's like, okay, we need chairs, we need parking, we need this, we need that, we need this. And then we could have something to talk to people about.
Yeah, I agree. And that's exactly what it'll be. It'll be nothing else on it. I'm just writing that down. Okay.
Because I know a spot, I just thought of a spot when you were talking. There's I think it's a woman's club. It's in a old house converted into an a meeting place that my wife used to belong to, this networking group, and they met in the basement. and the room is big enough, and I think they might have storage, I don't know, but at least I can maybe talk to them and see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
Okay,
I'm going to, this is Dave, I'm going to check at the, what it's called Waterford Parks and Rec now. It used to be the Waterford CII building, and they have a huge gym with a stage. They have tables, chairs. They have another meeting room off to the side. That's like a dining room that's quite large. They have a complete upstairs that I believe has been used for a dance studio. And it's all hard surface floors, no carpeting. And there's several downstairs small rooms. But it has been closed for the most part. I'm going to check with Parks and Rec and see what they have to say, because it meets our criteria. It's got parking, and they may have a storage room for us.
Okay.
So let me call them. Send me. I need the list of what you're looking for.
Right.
So get me that list, and then I will try to contact them and see what. Because I did know at one time that people don't run it. I'm assuming they still do. I don't know, but things have changed since the pandemic. But give me the information, and I will go there and check with those folks.
Okay, I appreciate that, Dave.
It'd be a great spot. It really would.
Yeah.
And put the letter on our letterhead so that we don't just look like a bunch of idiots.
We don't have a letterhead.
You should do the letterhead with our symbol for this.
I'll see if I can create one. And put something together. So, okay, anything else?
Yeah, I talked to, Huntington Woods. We have a rec center in the library.
Uh-huh.
And they told me we could not do it in there because it's a group, and they have the rooms for us, but they would not let us do it.
Yeah. And
because
just because they have the room doesn't mean they can do it.
Yeah, it's because it's a municipality, they can't rent out rooms on a permanent basis.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. So, okay, anything else on the home? Okay, moving on to the next and last item before we get into the demo, and that is our next meeting in April is going to be a John Jordan demo, a pro demo. So our next meeting will be for members only, no guests or non-members. So it's going to be a great demo. I think we got him going to talk about the aesthetics and properties of wood, which is something that everybody who works with wood should understand. And I've seen the demo before. It's incredible. The knowledge that this man has is just unbelievable. So anyways, that's just the announcement for the next meeting. And if you bear with me, I'm going to take a minute here to move my computer off my lathe. And Chuck, if you could switch over to
Jeff, I got something for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I have to leave at 3.
Okay.
Did you want to go about the tool raffle real quick?
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, if we can, because I don't want to be cut short and
okay.
not get it out there.
Okay. Well then, let's do that then. It's the only item we're going to move up on the list, and that's the tool raffle, or the tool raffle. We are going to raffle off a Longworth chuck that Cindy Yates made. And if we could highlight Cindy, she's got it with her to show us. And if you can talk about it a little bit, Cindy, once we get it highlighted.
Okay, this is it. And this is the back. And the chuck itself will be the size of your lathe, 1.1 1/4 or 1 TPI. This is a 1 because I made it as a demo. But it's hard to hold on and show you. But
I think everybody pretty much knows how they work.
yeah, you know how it all works.
Yeah.
But so I did these on my CNC. So yeah.
So she can customize the Longworth to hold whatever faceplate you have. So you just have to let her know if you win it. Just let her know what faceplate it is, or if you can provide a faceplate, that'll work too.
So it's It's 12 inches, and it'll go even smaller than this if you move these. You can move these things in smaller. So it will go pretty
That's a
small.
great job, Cindy. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
I've got
so-
one, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
yeah, I made him one, and I made a couple other people one.
We will not ship overseas.
Pardon?
What was that?
We won't ship overseas.
So
Well, I think our friends overseas that are members know that, you know, their membership doesn't cover all that kind of stuff either. So
What would the minimum swing be on that? Would it fit a 1221 jet?
what's that?
Would it fit a 1221 jet? What's the minimum swing on it?
Well, the minimum, this one is 12 inches. I don't know what the height of your lathe will take, but I made one for Jeff that'll take up to 15 inches.
Yeah.
I can't go over 12 inches.
Well, this is exactly 12.
Okay.
So,
And it's for 1 1/4 inch spindle only?
no, 1 1/4 or 1 inch, or do you have something different?
Yes, are you making it custom for the
Yes.
win?
What's your spindle size? I'm gonna make it custom. You're not necessarily gonna get this one.
A
I just wanted.
1 inch 8 thread.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's one of the standard
Yeah.
sizes.
Cindy, I think the real concern here is a lot of people have mini and mini lathes with only a 12-inch swing.
Right.
So if we're going to open it up to the entire club, you might, since you're going to make them custom anyway,
Right.
can you make one, say, 11?
I can.
And then if somebody has a bigger lathe, then you could make it more like 14.
Well, yeah, I wanted to keep it no bigger than 12. I can go smaller.
That's fine.
So,
I don't think we want to eliminate people that have a, a smaller lathe, similar to the lathes in our workshop.
right. And also, real quick, just talking about that, I know Jeff didn't want to do this, but I am. This is the other tool I made that we're possibly going to be auctioning off to. I mean, having a raffle for. Yeah, later on. But it hooks up to your lathe. It's a steady rest. And that's the back. So you all think about that. This hooks on to, I have a Laguna, so this is engineered for my Laguna. But yeah, these things all move, and so. Okay, that's all I got.
So anyways, the link to buy your tickets for that is in the members only section of our website. It is live now. I know because Henry has already bought one ticket. And I think somebody else did this morning. So that's live. You can buy more than one ticket if you'd like. We've got to sell 40 tickets at minimum to auction this off. So make it a point of getting to the members only section and purchasing your ticket or tickets. And we'll see how long it takes for us to be able to raffle this off. So Cindy, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate your work on this.
My pleasure.
Okay. Okay, if we come back.
Real quickly before you go though, Cindy, how much are you charging to make those? I'll probably order one from you.
$100.
For each of those different jigs or just the one?
The $100 for the 12-inch. It's $130 for the 15-inch.
And that's for this jig. How about the steady rest?
The steady rest, I'm not sure yet. I got to figure it out. It'll probably be around $125, $135.
Oh, good. I'll get a hold of you. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, Cindy's still working on the steady rest. She showed me the beginnings of the prototype a couple weeks ago, and that's the furthest I've seen her on it. So I'm glad to see she's coming along with that.
Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. I'm almost done with it.
Yep.
Just got to tweak it just a hair more.
Okay then. So are you guys ready for a demo?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So bear with me
Yep.
for a second. I'm going to move my computer off the lathe, so hope you don't get dizzy.
Which camera do you want us to spotlight, Jeff?
That's exactly, well, put it back on me first. There we go. Get my bench out of the way.
Matt, we should rename the two. Oh, we could do that.
Yeah,
we should rename the two so they show up in the front.
Okay, okay. Let me do this one here. Let me rename. Well, I don't know if I can rename it. I'll work on it, Chuck.
There.
Jeff will have to rename that the overhead camera if he wants to rename it. I can't rename it.
I got it.
Okay.
What would we do without Matt and Chuck? Well, let me move this camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, if we can come back to my computer screen, not the bowl, but to me. Okay, are we ready to start?
Sure.
Okay, so today I'm going to talk about finishing, my favorite finishes. More precisely, as many of you know, I do craft shows. And when you sell at craft shows, things have to be shiny. And you have to make up a lot. So I tend to do production runs of bowls and pens. The bowls are utilitarian. There's nothing fancy. There's nothing artistic on them. But I find that if I put a good shine on them, they sell faster because most of my customers are the ladies. And ladies like to buy shiny things. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I just had to learn that in the beginning. So I'm going to cover my favorite finishes today for bowls. I'm going to cover my favorite finish for pens today because I sell a lot of pens. And I'm also going to play with the Parfix 3408, which more and more people are starting to use as a finish on bowls and vessels because it's medical grade. It's no odor of any kind. And it has about a 45 to 50-second work time, which is like an eternity when you're working with CA. So if we can switch down to my phone view of the bowl I got on the lathe. So I've got a bunch of choke cherry here. I'm going to adjust my lights a little bit. I started out, as I said, I started out with a camera overhead and the camera quit working. So one of the problems I have here is I have my lathe area flooded with LED light. And I don't know what you can and can't see as far as the grain. You probably see a lot of shine on that, don't you?
It's still pretty good.
Okay.
It's still pretty, yeah, it's still pretty good.
I'm going to try something here because Robbo and I did this earlier. How's that?
Worse. Yeah, it's getting whited out from yourself.
Oh, okay. Darn.
Hard to know.
Yeah. Any better?
That's better.
Okay.
That's good. That's good there. Yeah.
That's what we're going to go with then. Yeah, I like a nice bright area when I work, and you know, even with all this overhead lighting, I still have an LED light on my lathe, because the older I get, the worse my eyes get. So, anyways, I want to talk for a minute about finish. We talk about finish as putting the coatings on, the waxes, the oils, and so on, and that's not really a finish. The finish is your sanding. Your sanding is the true finish, and the coatings you're putting on are protectants, and they're designed to help highlight the grain. Because they highlight the grain, they'll also highlight any scratches you have. I always make it a rule of thumb on bowls and on pens. I sand them up to 600 grit. And I don't move on to the next grit until I've made sure I've gotten rid of all of my really deep scratches from previous grits. And the grits you start out with at like 80 and 120 are going to leave the biggest scratches. And they're sometimes the hardest to get out. So I'm not going to get too much into sanding today because Albert's going to cover that next weekend at our workshop. He's going to cover sanding. So I just wanted to make mention of that you want to sand it up to at least 600, and make sure there's and examine it to make sure there are no scratches. Now the bowls I'm using here today are not finished bowls. They need some more work, but I think just for the sake of getting these coatings on and stuff, I'm going to go with them as they are. First one I want to talk about is my most used finish for bowls, and that's Axe wood paste and polishing. Now there's basically two types out there of this. A lot of people have Yorkshire grit, okay, and Hampshire sheen. I love these. These are great products. The problem is they're very expensive. The Hampshire sheen, this one that I bought, by the time I got done paying for shipping and everything, this was $35 for this little can, and I don't even know what the ounces is on it because it doesn't say. I'm going to say it's probably about 4 ounces. But it works great. Tom Ackley came out with his own version of it called Axe Abrasive Paste, and I dropped it. And Axe Polishing Paste, Polishing and Restoring Paste. There it is. And it is essentially the exact... Huh?
You're upside down.
You're right, I am. Sorry about that. Everything's different when you're looking at this point of view. So, and then his version of the Hampshire sheen is Axe Polish and Restoring Paste. I love it. It works as good as the Yorkshire grit and Hampshire sheen, but you buy these two products from them in a package, and with shipping, it comes out to be about the same price as just the one jar of the Hampshire sheen. So that's what I really like about it. It's a good product. Just a husband and wife doing this, and I highly recommend that you check them out. So anyways, like I said, this is sanded up to 600 grit. I'm going to get my paperwork out of the way here. And I use, for all my finishing, I just use Kroger paper towel. Especially with CA, it seems to be the one that doesn't give me a lot of negative reactions. So basically, all I do is get a wad of it on, and I just start wiping it on and making sure everything is covered. And you don't necessarily use it sparingly, but you don't have to put it. You know, I've seen people put half a jar on, and that's just not necessary. Not even on a 12-inch bowl. I should probably turn on my lathe. So, and I just like to rub it in and massage it in, just to make sure that everything that I want is going to be covered. There we go. So it's all covered now. You can see it's got a little bit of a sheen as it is. Now what this is a sanding paste. So it's got rotten stone in it, which is going to do sanding and take us up to about 1,000 grit when it's done. I start out at 500, get the lathe running, and I just take the towel that I put it on with, and I just hold it. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but you can actually hear the rotten stone kind of sanding and doing its job. So I will do that for a little bit, a couple minutes usually. Then I move to a clean area of my cloth, and I take it up to then 750. And now what I'm doing is I'm buffing and taking off any excess grit that didn't dissolve. And I'm doing it, I'm pressing just hard enough that it's getting warm, but not too hot. Because if you're not careful, you can very easily burn your fingers doing this, which is a hard lesson to learn. So that towel's pretty well retired. Now I'm going with a clean towel, and I'm going to take it up to 1,000 RPM. And now I'm going to press it and burnish it is what I'm doing. I'm getting it warm, a little bit warmer than I had before, still not so much that it's burning my fingers. But as you can see, that alone is putting a pretty good shine on it. And I'm not feeling the grit anymore. And I do this, I keep getting fresh papers of a fresh piece of cloth that doesn't have any left on it. When I don't have anything left on it anymore, then I know I've taken it as far as I can. There's just a little bit there. So let's go back down here. And usually where you're going to pick up any excess is going to be towards the bottom or top edge, because you tend to miss that. So I'm going off the edge just a little bit. Okay, so there's no more coming off. So that is sanded essentially to 1,000 grit. And it's got a pretty decent shine on it. This is Weeping Cherry, by the way. I have a whole bunch of this, and I have a bunch of partly turned bowls that are going to get turned into permanent bowls for craft shows. So now I'm moving into doing the polishing paste. Its application is exactly the same, with the only difference that I'm going to use just a little bit more, and I'm going to spread it before I massage it. Just a little bit more there. There we go. Now I'm already seeing chatoyance. I don't know if that's going to come out on the camera or not. And I haven't even gotten this totally polished yet. So I've got the whole thing covered. I'm going to repeat the same procedure as I did with the sanding paste. I'm going to start at 500 using the section of cloth that has the paste on it. And I'm going to start putting pressure on it and going back and forth to polish it. And by heating it up and getting it warm, the waxes in it are going to dissolve and go into the pores and seal them. Now we don't have to go as long because we don't have rotten stone in this, so I go to a clean part of the cloth. I take it up to 700 again, and I press it enough to get some heat going, and I just keep going back and forth. Well, there's some that came off there. Let's go to a clean part of the cloth, and let's take it up to 1,000. And as you can see, we got a really nice shine on it. Now, one thing I didn't do that I normally do, and I missed this step just because of nerves, and I know it's probably surprising that I have nerves, but everybody does at some point or another. But here on the end grain, it is just not as shiny as I would like it to be. That is because I didn't use any sanding sealer. My favorite sanding sealer is Mylan's cellulose sanding sealer. That's my sanding sealer of choice. That makes a big difference. That way the wood is taking in less of the oil and the wax, and so that can set on the surface and shine up even more. But it's a nice shine. But I'm going to show you a little trick if you happen to miss that. I also have a Beal buffing system. And some of my bowls, some woods, no matter what you do with sanding sealers or not, they just don't like to shine up. Catalpa's like that. You got to really work hard to get to shine up. So I've got together kind of a makeshift BO buffing system. Now I have an attachment that goes on my lathe that holds on to this. And what I do is I only use white diamond, and I'm going to put a little on. Okay, I'll get this turning at 250. And what let's see, let's do this. Let's reverse it. And now I'm just going to buff it with white diamond. There we go. And that helped with the end grain. That helped with the end grain. And I got some nice chatoyants here.
Jeff, did you turn your lathe on reverse or the drill?
I turned the lathe on reverse.
Okay, thanks.
You could do it either way if you have a reversible drill. So that's the Axe wood paste system.
Hey Jeff,
Yes.
how does that cream hold after 3 months? Does it get dull? Do you have to reapply it, or you got patches on the wood? How does it hold up?
I have some bowls that I have stored since the last show I did, which is over a year ago now because of the pandemic, and they still got a pretty good shine to them. I do, if they do start to dull, then I'll put them through the buffing system real quickly with just carnauba wax, no white diamond or anything, and that buffs them right back up. The reason I do the Axe system or the Yorkshire Grit and Hampshire Sheen, the reason I buff them afterwards is that just puts more of a harder shell on it, so that when it's at the show, all these hands picking it up and setting it down and picking it up and setting it down don't damage the finish. It's much more durable finish. But they will, over time, dull, especially if they're being used. And I have instructions for customers on how to get the sheen back into them using different products.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. One thing I did want to cover today that I don't usually use, but a lot of people like, and that's oils. You know, there's something to be said for using oil on your bowls. They're guaranteed to be food safe, although we all know the arguments about what's food safe and what's not food safe. But if I use an oil, I will generally use walnut oil, which Mahoney's Utility Finish is all pure walnut oil. It's a gorgeous oil. I've used tongue oil. Tongue oil is a good one if you put multiple coatings on. It creates a good finish. Creates a nice shiny finish. Walnut oil won't necessarily do that, but it creates a nice finish. So it's just basically, I apply it on while the lathe is running at about 250. You can, a lot of people don't even put it on the lathe when they do it. I'm kind of lazy, so I always take the short way out, which is not necessarily a good thing. But anyways, this puts a very nice finish on it. And it's shiny when it's first applied. But as that soaks in over a 24-hour period, it won't be as shiny. But it is a nice finish, and it really makes the grain pop.
Ever use the Hampshire Sheen over the top of the walnut oil?
I have not. I didn't know if that would work well or not because of the oil getting into the pores, so the wax has nothing to really cling a hold of. Anybody done that?
Well, as far as I know, the Hampshire Sheen is actually not a finish. It's actually done as an abrasive paste, and they recommend that if you're gonna use it and you're gonna put a finish on top, you make sure that you use clean rags or whatever you're using to make sure you take all of it off. because it's not actually a finish on its own.
Hampshire Sheen is an abrasive.
Pardon?
But
I thought Yorkshire Grit was the abrasive.
Yorkshire Grit is the abrasive. Hampshire Shine is the finish.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
if you put Danish oil on, or most of the oils, provided they are dry, in fact, we use Danish oil as an undercoat, and then put wax or lacquer or whatever actually over the top of the Danish oil. So, provided the oil is dry, yes, you can just about put anything over it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Raffle.
Mahoney also makes a wax.
Yes, they do. Yes, he does. Yeah. So as you can see, it dulls a little bit, but it's a nice sheen. It's not just plain wood, and the grain really pops from it. And I get chatoyance from it, which is important to my customers. That's what really sells a bowl is chatoyance and the story of where the wood came from. They just love that. So, any other questions on oil? And like I say, there's many different oils out there. Tung oil is a good one. Tung oil has been used for a long, long time before we started coming up with all this other stuff. I have tung oil. I don't know why, but I cannot get the doggone bottle open. You know, I used it, and then all of a sudden, I can't even get open with a pair of pliers, so I got to figure out what to do about that.
Channel locks are your friends.
What's that?
Channel locks.
Channel locks? Okay.
Bigger movement arm, stronger grip.
Well, this is what I tried to use. Maybe vice grip.
That should have done it. Channel locks. Yeah.
So,
put it in a vise. There you go.
I just figured before I do any more with it, I got to have another bottle ready because I'm sure I'm going to destroy the bottle. So,
What you can do, if you just put a bit of heat on the top, actually gonna soften it up, and then you can use channel locks. It will come off real easy.
Oh, you mean like a heat gun?
Yeah, like a heat gun, yeah, or one of those small propane torches from Harbor Freight. Anything to put a bit of heat on it.
Well, I've actually got a real nice heat gun, so I'll give that a try.
And then put it in a stop loss bag.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can picture it being like a pipe bomb.
Yeah.
You can run hot water on it also.
Yeah. You know, also, if you don't want to use one of those bags that are not available, you can actually put pebbles or whatever you want in there, as long as you raise the level and it's close to the top. As long as there is no air, you're not going to get. Or also, you can turn the can upside down, and if it's going to, you will not get a film on it because it's on the bottom. That's one other way to do it, too.
Okay.
Acetylene works real good, too.
What does?
Acetylene.
Oh, okay. Well, if you see a funnel cloud in the area of Troy, Michigan, you'll know why. I think I'll use my heat gun.
Yeah, I'd use a heat gun rather than an open flame because the contents within the can is flammable.
Exactly. Yep. So I have got one more finish that I think we've all started with. Some people continue with it, and that's good old, and this is a good one for beginners to start working with, and that's good old friction polish, which in this case is equal parts of boiled linseed oil, shellac, and alcohol. I got a 3-ounce mixture. Generally, I don't use this too often, but when I use it, I only mix up about 3 ounces at a time. That way I'm not playing around with adding alcohol later on because it's evaporated off or anything. There's another version of this called 3-2-1 that Ray has made for us. It's also known as Frenchie's polish, and it's 60% alcohol, 30% shellac, and 10% boiled linseed oil. I believe that's the ratios. And that was the original mixture that flatboard workers who did French polishing used, where they polished it in until their arms fell off. And it makes an incredible finish. So I wanted to go through this using just the basic equal measures because that's the easiest one for everybody to make. But one thing I'm going to do here that I didn't do on the first bowl is I'm remembering to put my sanding sealer on. And I've got it in a little bottle here because it's just easier to deal with than that can. So I'm going to put my sanding sealer on first. And you got to kind of work fast with this stuff.
What kind of sanding sealer? Is it a lacquer based?
It's lacquer base. It's a myelin cellulose sanding sealer, so it's a lacquer base. And they put stuff in it that I think helps it dry. And I'm missing one of my... So I'll let that set a little bit to dry. Sometimes I'll speed up the drying process by just spinning it.
Does it smell like lacquer, Jeff?
What's that?
Does it smell like lacquer?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Is it real strong or does it dissipate pretty quickly?
It dissipates pretty quickly. It's not causing me any kind of problems with my lungs or anything. I think if I did this all day long, it might. So anyways, so there, it's not sticky anymore.
Is it food safe?
Yes. Understand that anything is food safe so long as it's had a chance to cure. So if you don't smell it anymore, it's cured and it's safe. And I know that's a big argument that a lot of people have, and that's a discussion going on in the business right now. What is and what isn't food safe? I have been using this with absolutely no complaints from anybody on my bowls. So, anyways, I got the sanding sealer on. I'm going to spin it at 500, and I'm going to take a Scotch pad, the green Scotch pad, which I think is a medium to fine, and I'm just going to get the excess off.
And also remember with finishes that I haven't met anybody yet that eats the wood.
That did what?
I haven't met anybody that eats the wood with the finish on it. They normally stop cutting or eating before they get into that.
Right, right. So I've scratched off all the excess, which you can see there. Very smooth now. Get this out of here. When you're working with a liquid like friction polish, it's always a good idea to put an old rag down in your lathe. So now, let me get my other paper towel here. Shake it up real good. Get it on. Some people like to put this on while it's running. I don't like to do that because then it splashes up at you. And I got a brand new pair of glasses coming next week that I don't have to deal with that. And you know, I have two face masks that I wear, one for turning and one for finishing. The problem is when I go to do the finishing, I always forget. And so I got to change the screen on my face shield. So anyways, it's spread on. It's kind of sticky feeling, which is normal. And now I'm going to spin it at 750. And just like the polishing paste and the sanding paste, I'm going to hold the rag on to heat it up and just work it back and forth. And as you can see, that starts to shine up. And if you've got a fresh mixture of friction polish, you can put 2 to 3 coats on without getting it gummy. Sometimes when the finish gets old and the alcohol starts to evaporate off, you can get a gummy finish real easily. This is just a fresh, clean cloth. So it's kind of a satin finish right now. We got some chatoyans. So that tells me I can put some more on, which I'm going to do. And what I'm going to do here, just to kind of speed things up, I'm going to turn it slowly, which in this case is 250. I have presets because it's a DVR lathe. And I'm going to kind of drizzle it on. and I'm using the same cloth that I originally put it on with because that has the wax embedded in it now. And then I'll speed it up and start to buff it in or rub it in. And I'm feeling some warmth on my finger. That tells me it's doing its job. I'm got just the right amount of pressure on. And believe me, if you're working with any of these finishes, you want to wear nitrate gloves because at the very least, your hands are going to get very sticky if you don't. There it is. No, that's just 2 coats. Look at that shine on it. It is a great fast finish. It's just not a long, durable finish. And that's why I don't use it for my craft show stuff. I use the other with the BL buffing system. But that's, you know, for all you new people that are new to turning bowls, you know, that's a great finish. And when I put this video out on YouTube, I will have the mixtures for this and Frenchie's polish in the description for you. So you can make your own up, and everything you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware. So any questions on friction polish?
Hey Jeff, after I put a friction polish on, I'll put carnauba wax over it to make it last longer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You just put the carnauba wax directly on?
Yes.
Okay, so you hold like a stick of it up against the wood?
Yeah, and then you're turning it fast so you develop heat, and you're melting the wax in.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's try that real quick, okay?
Go for it.
We're flexible. What's the speed you normally do it at?
Anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
Oh, really? Okay. Let's see. There we go, 2,000. Oh, look at that melt. And do you buff it at that speed too?
Yeah, well, you can even buff it faster, but usually when I'm doing pens, I'll even go up to 4,000. But because you've got a bigger diameter there, 2,000 would be good.
Okay, well, I'm just buffing with the paper towel. And yeah, you can't press hard because it gets hot real fast. Very nice. Yeah, that is a nice shine. Yeah, and carnauba wax is long lasting. It's good stuff. Look at it.
Yeah, carnauba wax is a very hard wax, so it'll last for a long time. Yeah. Carnauba wax is also something that they put on capsules, medicine capsules, to help it go down, so it's definitely food safe.
Oh, really? I thought it was shellac that they put on.
To my knowledge, it was carnauba wax.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. So there's a nice, easy finish for those of you who are just getting into it, and you don't have to spend a lot. Some of these finishes get expensive, so you don't have to spend a lot of money playing around with this. So, so any questions on that? Okay. Let's get into something I've been wanting to try. I have not done this yet on a bowl, and that's the Parfix.
Just on the carnauba wax there, Jeff.
What's that?
On the carnauba wax, you're right in what you were saying about the food safe. They tend to use carnauba wax on things like Smarties and M&Ms and that sort of thing over here in the UK, but it's not made over here in the UK.
Okay.
But I noticed when you were applying the carnauba wax there from the stick, you put it on the bowl and you put quite a lot. As you ran it round the bowl, you put an awful lot of it on, and then you went back again. If you look closely on the bowl, sometimes you get quite thick lines, and it means that you've probably applied too much Carnauba wax at that sort of speed will take quite nicely with literally just running your hand from the bottom straight out quite quick to the rim. And it needs very little on to soften and then coat the ball with.
Okay. Well, like I said, that's the first time I've ever done that. So
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you
of
for the
course.
information. I don't have streaks, which is nice. But these bowls are all going to get sanded and redone anyways because they're going to be going into my stock. So, any other questions about that? Okay, let's play around with the Parfix. I have done.
Can you show the can of that Parfix what it looks like?
Yes, there it is. 3408. And there's only 2 people in this country I know of you can get it from because the company only sells at wholesale, and they were willing to buy quantity. MarkSillay, who's a very well-known turner, he's one of the primary sources for it, and he's the one that turned me on to this. And I think he charges $35 a bottle. And there's a gentleman out of Coldwater, Michigan, Michael Paul. I've been following him on Facebook, and he just recently did a video using this. The difference between the two is that Michael Paul uses boiled linseed oil that he rubs in on the towel first, and then he puts the Parfix on. Then he repeats 2 other times. MarkSillay does 2 coatings of Parfix, and then buffs it with white diamond, which is what I'm going to do here today.
Do we keep the Parfix 3408 in our club stock? Our club
I don't
store?
believe we have it in our club stock, and I probably because you got to buy at least a case of it.
Beth, I used to get the Parfix from a local guy here. He was a distributor.
Yeah.
I didn't get the 3408, but I used to get like the 3422, which is extra thick. And I don't remember the other numbers, but there is a local guy that you can get it from, but you got to have a minimum of $100 order.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the problems that a lot of people have had with getting it. They only want 1 bottle. They don't want to spend a lot of money like that. And I think I know the guy you're talking about. He's over off of South Boulevard. I think he's got an office.
Yeah, Rochester Hills, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, okay. So I've never done this on a bowl. I'm just making sure it's clean. And here's the best part. I don't have a mask on, which I normally always do when I'm turning anyways. So, and this is what Mark, and Mark does this more with vessels than he does with bowls. Michael Paul does this with bowls. So, we're just gonna, look at that. I can actually work back and forth for a little bit. Now, between the 2 of them, Michael Paul likes to use a squirt of Activator. MarkSillay does not. There's the first coat, and that's kind of like the sealing coat.
Jeff, did you put boiled linseed oil in there first?
Michael Paul does that. I've not experimented with that.
Captain Eddie has a thing where he did a vessel with a glass finish, and he was using CA for that. I don't know what brand though.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there using CA to create glass finishes on vessels and stuff like that, and it's not necessarily the Parfix. And that's fine. It's just a lot of practice to get that technique down because you all know CA works fast.
I'm in Captain Eddie Castellan's Wednesday evening meetings. They're free, by the way, for anybody who wants to join. Alfred's been coming and some other folks have. And Eddie and one of his buddies are running a CA glue finish competition on the meeting, and they demonstrated the 3408 finish this past week on the meeting, which is on their YouTube channel somewhere, which I think is just called Wood Turning.
Yeah, if you go to, you're talking the Worldwide Wood Turners?
Yes, Worldwide Wood
Their
Turners.
link is on their website.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll have to check that out. I'm usually chatting with my buddies over in Australia and the UK and stuff on Wednesday nights, so I haven't attended any of those. So let's get the second coat on.
One of the things they say about the 3408 is that it doesn't have the same odor that a lot of the other CA glues have.
It does not. I don't have a mask on.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, I was going to do this on a pen blank also. We'll do the boiled linseed oil with it on the pen blank. So there's 2 coats, and it's kind of a rough finish, not really rough. You get it in the light just right, and you can see it's kind of rough. So I'm going to stop it right there since that's where Mark stops, and I'm going to hit it with some white diamond. And I'm not putting any real pressure on either.
Well, that's pretty.
That is pretty.
Pretty piece.
Yep, that is nice. However, I got, this particular piece of wood, I could have probably gone another coat or 2, or maybe I should have put sanding sealer on it because it is absorbing in the end grain. But as you can see, it's a pretty easy finish to get on. I'm not suffering from fumes or anything. And when I buff it, I would have it on the Beal buffing system rather than the drill. The drill is kind of an imperfect way of doing it. Firsthand, I see things in it that I don't like. I would have to redo it. So anyways, that's the Parfix. Any questions on that?
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
I was listening to MarkSillay talking about this when he was applying it.
Mm-hmm.
And because that Parfix 3408 is so thin that he only applies 1 coat, and because it's so thin, it is absorbed into the wood, and therefore, even with the humidity in the air, there is no chance of it cracking on top because it doesn't sit on the wood, it goes inside.
Right.
And also for buffing it, he, from his experience, he says he likes to use this product. It's called Vonex, V-O-N-E-X.
Yeah.
Apparently, I haven't used it myself, but apparently it's not as abrasive as the white diamond we have.
Right.
And because he said, if you press a bit too hard with the white diamond, you might go through it, but Vonex is more easy on the Parfix. And
yeah.
Now, when you bought it, did you get it from him?
No, I actually got this bottle from Michael Paul.
Oh, okay.
Because I was having trouble getting a hold of Mark at the time. He was traveling.
Oh, okay.
But the stuff that MarkSillay uses is hard to get because it comes out of Germany. I don't think it's available from any source here in America right now.
No, he gets it from the same company. He gets it from Parsons, which is here in Michigan.
He does?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And but the problem is, as everybody is saying, we have to buy it in bulk.
Right.
And for an individual, it's going to be too expensive just to buy that. And the shelf life is a bit longer than regular CA.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it does go off, if you have it over for so many years.
Right.
So
Jeff, is that something the club could do, is buy like a quantity and then sell it to the members individually?
Well, that's a possibility that but we'll have to look at that when we're back into a home and have a store again.
I wouldn't do that at this time because distribution would be almost impossible.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, we can't do anything with the store right now, simply because of the situation we're in.
Yeah, distribution and the cost of it is not cheap. And
That's the other thing. We'd have to look at that and see what the cost is going to be and see if that's viable.
yeah,
We also had a lot of trouble selling Parfix glue, if I remember right. And
A lot of people didn't like the Parfix, so that's why I went to the Starbond.
yeah, and myself, I'm a Starbond fan. I love Starbond.
if you go into MarkSillay, he has a bunch of YouTubes and he talks about the different numbers. Mike, you were talking about the other numbers he has. He has this 3408, which is very thin, and it's actually medical. They use it in medicine for, you know, sutures and stuff like that. And there is no odor or nothing to it. But he has other ones, and he explains what the number mean as far as thickness and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, because
we should buy one of those for Roger then, Al.
the charts on Parfix website are very hard to understand.
Yeah.
And
Jeff, that's not going to drive very well, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
yeah, right. This is what happens when you're talking.
Who's
I
the
tend to work
distributor?
software in my shop.
Who's
Mike,
the distributor you would buy it in bulk from?
Well, Parfix is in Rochester Hills.
Yes.
So maybe there's something we could work out with them. They say that I was just looking at their charts on their website, and they say their viscosity on that is comparable. Well, they don't say this directly, but looking at the both sets of charts, is their viscosity is on the 3408 is apparently comparable to the Starbond EM02. They're very thin. They wick into whatever material it is. So I'd be I primarily use the Starbond EM02. So I would be very interested to see how they compare with the finishes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what he was saying, that because it's so thin, it just goes inside, you know, it wicks into the material and you don't have no chance of it cracking. So
yeah,
and he only
stabilize it.
puts one coat on it.
I'll have to try it.
I'm gonna have to look them up. Maybe get a wholesale order.
Well, I know you can buy the Starbond EM02 or EM02, you know, in small amounts and big amounts and whatever amounts you want. I mean, they sell it on Amazon that way. So maybe
It's
there's some
interesting
option
stuff. I've been playing around with it a little bit, and you know, I like it, but you know, I've got to learn. It's just like anything; we got to figure it out as we go along. So, okay, I got one more thing to cover, and that's pen blanks. Now, I'm going to use a piece of walnut dowel, simply because it's a little bit easier to see on this particular camera. So rather than having one of the little thin blanks, and I'm going to show you my CA finish compared to other people's. Now, if you watch YouTube videos out there, you'll see people talking about putting 10, 15, 20 coats of CA on. And they get a good finish, but when you look at it in real time as opposed to on a video, you see the thickness of the CA on it. So it looks like your wood is under glass. Sort of like those tables you'll see in some bars that have that thick acrylic coating on top. They kind of look like that. My goal was to come up with a CA finish that highlighted the wood, but didn't give you that thick plastic look. And so I played around with it, and this is what I've come up with. I used two types of CA. I use thin or medium, depending on the wood. If it's an open grain wood, I tend to use medium, because you want some medium, the grain you can actually get your nail into, you can feel it. And what happens there is if you use thin, it doesn't fill up. So when you go to put your polishing paste on, you get white marks and lines and dots. So medium tends to fill it all up. I'm going to do 1/2 with my CA finish, and I believe with this wood I can go with thin. and the other half I'm going to do with a Parfix, but I'm going to use it with a boiled linseed oil like Michael Paul does. So let me get, I have lost my towel. There we go.
What are you doing?
Get that into place.
Oh, sorry. Thought it was muted.
So what I do is I only do 4 coats of CA. So we're going to do this side with Star Bond. I've got it at 250 RPM. You don't want to turn any faster than that. Oops, I'm in reversed. Let's stop that. There we go.
Yeah, reverse would throw it up into your face.
And on my camera, which is my cell phone. So basically, I drew it on. I only passed over like 2 or 3 times. Sometimes not even that if it's drying real fast. Captain Eddie's a big proponent of 1 swipe. Then I just give it a little shot, and I move on to the next.
Hey Jeff, I found that that you cut the craft foam into 1-inch strips instead of the paper towel. It works really well for CA finish.
Really?
Yep, it's really smooth. It doesn't absorb into the paper towel, so you don't waste a lot of the CA.
Oh, okay. Craft foam?
Yep, those big sheets like you use on the vacuum trucks that we got. Just that stuff. Yep,
Okay.
It works really good.
Now the paper towel I'm using is Kroger paper towel. A lot of people use different paper towels. A lot of people are big proponents of the blue paper towel, shop towel you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. But I have found with that, in CA, I get a faster reaction where I started getting smoke. So I just happened to use this one day and I've been very pleased with it. So here's another coat. I don't know why I put my lid back on my accelerator. And then I'm going to do my 4th coat. Like Captain Eddie, I just throw the used paper towel on the floor, which means I tend to go upstairs with a paper towel stuck to my shoes. So there it is. It's pretty smooth. It's not sticky anymore. It's dry. So what I do now is I go through all my grits of micro mesh. And I don't micro mesh wood wet. I don't do that because it tends to, I see it getting into the sides, especially on pen blanks, and staining on the inside. So I do it dry, and I've had very good results with that. I'm going to take it up to 500. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I got a nice smooth finish as it is. I'm just going to kind of evenly sand it. And as Albert's going to show us next week, you got to go back and forth and get the circular marks out. And this is going to get ugly before it gets pretty.
Right.
There's that.
I'm still waiting to get pretty.
What's that?
I'm still waiting to get pretty. I'm pretty ugly at the moment.
Well, for some, it's a harder task than others.
Yes.
Are you dry standing with the micro mesh?
I
I'm
am
just
dry
curious.
sanding, yes. Like I said, I don't like to do wood with wet micro mesh because the water tends to get into the ends, and I've had a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, it's true.
Micro mesh, I've never used it. Do you buy that as a kit where you get different grits?
I do. It comes with. I got this from. I got this package from Woodcraft that I've got now, but there's a lot of sources out there. This starts at $1,500 and goes up to 12,000 grits. It's 9 steps.
And they're all color
And I
coded.
number them because the chart you get never really matches it.
That's
And
true.
the result is, if you drop them, it's really hard to put them back in order. So I take a Sharpie and I mark them. So let's do this. And
Yeah,
as
you
get
can
farther
buy
on
them
the
in the pads, or
and I-
you can buy them in sheets.
You can buy them in sheets too. I like the pad. I think the pad just does a better job of evenly sanding.
I buy them in a pad, which is about double the size of what you're using, and I get them from Woodcraft too.
Yeah.
And I cut them in half because if you're doing small stuff like what you're doing, the big pad is, you know, you can't really get to the surfaces where you want to get.
Right.
The problem I have with these pads is because they're color coded, and as you said, if you drop one, you don't have them in the right order, you're not going to remember what the color, you know, which order they should be. So I have, you know, they give you like a piece of paper there with all the colors, what they mean. But I use mine wet. I never had a problem with staining or anything like that. But the thing is, again, keeping them in order. That's the problem I have with them.
Exactly. And, you know, and so you've seen that the chart that comes with it, the color-coded chart, doesn't match up well.
Not really, no. They tell you like a teal, and you know, the teal, between the teal and the purple, there's hardly any difference, and which is which, you know?
It's true, the colors don't match.
So I'm almost done with this. I'm on number 8 right now. And as you can see, it's shining up real nice.
Yeah, I like the idea that you number them. I wonder if I can do that and use them in water, if the number stays there.
It does, because I wet sand acrylics.
Okay.
I just don't wet sand wood, or pen blanks, I should say, because I've had the situation where the water got into the ends. Even after doing a CA finish doesn't mean that the end of your pens is going to be finished with CA.
Yeah.
So
I used, on that topic, Jeff, I use them wet on acrylics, but on the woods, I would use probably a linseed oil that would lubricate it to wet sand it with the oil, and the oil wouldn't affect the finish if it seeped into the end grain.
That's a good, I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good idea.
Oh, and by the way, if you buy them from different vendors, the colors are sometimes different. So the ones
Yes.
you get from Lee
Yes.
Valley are actually different than the ones you get from Rockler and Woodcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The colors are different.
Yeah, a long time ago, I got a package from somebody, and I don't even remember who it was, but the colors were nowhere near.
Nope.
I mean, there was just no way to match, except for the very first one, which is always brown. So.
And I did find a place to buy individual ones for when you drop one and never find it again, especially one in the middle.
Where's that?
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I bought an individual one.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Okay.
handy.
Good to know.
So as you can see, I got a really good shine on this now, and it's only 4 coats. What I do at this point then, one of my favorite finishes is Hutz Ultra Gloss. It's a plastic polish, and it's got a little bit of a grit in it, and it really takes care of any land spots that might be in the CA. You don't use a lot. I've had this bottle for 8 years now, and it's only about half used up. So I just spread it on, just like that. Put a little pressure on, not too much. Get it going back and forth. I'm at 500 RPM right now. And then I go up to 1,000. Flip it over. Again, I'm getting heat, just like I did on my friction polish and my axe. And there you have my CA finish on the pen. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? And so when I get in production mode, I can turn a slimline pen and put a CA finish on it all in 30 minutes. It'd be totally done.
If you don't have the plastic polish, and you might be a carver and you strop your knives, You can also use Jeweler's Rouge, works well on a paper towel.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Penn State sells this system for buffing acrylics, and it uses a Jeweler's Rouge, is what it is. You buff it with that, then you clean buff it with the other wheel, and it puts a really nice shine on.
You can also, there's a guy on whatever it is, penturners.org, who has the list of what he uses car polish.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I use. I use McGuire scratch remover. It's like a swirl and scratch remover. If you go to O'Reilly or any of those places, you'll find a scratch remover, you know, from different companies. I like the McGuire, and it really polishes really nice.
Yep. He recommends McGuire's, and he's got a 3 or 4 step way he does it.
Yeah, that's what I use too, McGuire.
I used to know a guy that was in a Corvette club, and he exclusively polished his Corvette with Turtle Wax 2000. He said that was the best at the time. And
that was in the olden days.
Yeah.
Yeah, McGuire's is good. You can also go to a boat shop and get the acrylic polishes that they use for the plexiglass on boat windshields.
Okay, yeah.
Because actually, Jeweler's Rouge is very coarse.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, depending on the
guys. Novus has a really good product too.
Yes, that's the acrylic brand is Novus.
Yeah, they have 1, 2, and 3, and I've used that for years in the auto show displays. When somebody decides to see if their key will actually scratch the plexiglass around. And you talk about buffing your arms out, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I've got the 3-pack in large if anyone wants to try it.
Okay, well, I've got one thing left here, and that's the other half of this. I'm going to do the Parfix, but I'm going to do it like Michael Paul, using the boiled linseed oil in 3 coats. So let's get this turning. I'm turning at 250 RPM.
I put my CA
And then he puts the Parfix right over that same boiled linseed oil and works it in. Michael Paul does not like to use accelerator of any kind, so he speeds it up for a couple seconds.
The heat speeds up the curing.
Okay, boiled linseed oil again for coat 2. And Parfix. Yep, I already got a piece of paper towel stuck to my shoe. And one last application with boiled linseed oil. And then Parfix.
While we're watching CA dry, one thing you can do to play with this stuff instead of trying it on an actual pen blank is just put a spindle blank between centers and just practice with different ones.
Idea.
Yeah. I find while using it with the oil, it sort of lubricates it more. It won't prematurely dry, and you're less likely to get those spirally lines with the centrifugal force of the lathe.
Jeff, what did you sand it to before you put the finish on?
600.
Sorry, say again?
600 grit. That's generally where I finish on all my stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, using the BLO before, I found out that it actually gives you more shut-ions in the wood if you apply it first to the wood and then you put the CA. It kind of, I know it's going to get absorbed in the wood, but it seems to give you a bit more depth into the wood because of the oil.
Okay, and it is a little bit more depth to it, just like you said. I don't know if that's seeable on camera or not.
Yeah.
How many coats of Parflex?
I
Bigger
find that too.
How many coats of Parflex?
3. Boiled linseed oil first, and then Parfix. Let it dry, then 2 more coats. Boiled linseed oil first, and then Parfix.
Thank you.
What BLO is everyone using?
Very lightly over this.
Are some brands of BLO better than others? What BLO are people using?
I'm just using Clean Strip is the brand. It's just off the shelf at Lowe's.
Thanks,
I
Jeff.
don't even know the name of my brand. I get it at Home Depot or Canadian Tire.
Right.
Walmart.
So I just did the white diamond, and 2 quarts for that. So
Yeah, that's why he recommends to use that Vonex, VONEX.
yes.
He did say that. He said, if it's not completely dry and you're using the white diamond, you have a good chance of going through it. Because white diamond might be a bit too abrasive for that.
Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can fix it real quick with my plastic polish. So
it should.
Let's do this.
I know the yellow Jeweler's Rouge would be too abrasive, but the green Jeweler's Rouge isn't. That's usually what I use.
Now, is that a powder or a stick?
It's a liquid.
No, Cade, the green.
Oh, it comes in a stick. It comes in like a green stick or a green brick or a rock.
Oh, okay.
And I just rub the rock on the paper towel to transfer it to the paper towel, so it's not an excessive amount.
Okay.
And it just mixes in with the paper towel and acts as a buffing agent. And then I use the clean part of the paper towel to buff it off.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So what I had here is literally what has happened is the white diamond has ruined the surface. So I'd probably have to sand this and do a couple more coats of boiled linseed oil and Parfix.
Before I buff out anything that I've done in CA, I usually wait 48 hours.
Okay.
I wait about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I damaged that finish with the white diamond. I've got a sand finish now, but it's nothing that I would try to sell at my shows. So I would have to sand this down and put a couple more coats on, and then just stay away from that white diamond. So that's really all I had today. I want to cover something very important with especially people who haven't worked with CA before. This is very important. One of the things I like about Starbond is it seems to have a little bit more working time than other brands, commercial brands, but they also send you 2 caps and they send you the long micro tips to get into cracks with every bottle you purchase from them. So I really like that. However, any bottle, be it Starbond, Parfix, there's quite a few, Stick Fast, Tight Bond. What you want to do is, when you use it, whether you think it or not, glue builds up down around here. So every time you use it and go to set it down, take a rag and wipe it first. I hold it up then, push on the bottle, push air out, pull air in, and that keeps the tip clear. And I find my caps last a lot longer. I mean, a lot of times I'll get through a whole bottle without having to change a cap. So I recommend doing that with all your brands of CA. It makes a big difference.
Hey, Jeff, what I found out with the CA, because I used to have that problem too, I throw the cap away. I don't even use it. But I do as exactly as you said. You clean the outside. I usually squeeze it to, make sure that the hole is see-through. And I have a small container. I keep whatever CA that I have in it, and I put it in. I have a small fridge in the shop, and I keep it in the fridge. And I never had any problems with any of them going bad or getting thick or anything. But I don't use the cap at all. I even have the ones where they give you the one to use into the cracks. I just put it on there, bang it on the table a couple of times to clear it, put it in the fridge, and the next time it's good, ready to go.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I do keep my CA in the fridge all the time. I take it out about a half an hour before I'm going to use it.
I don't even do that. I just use it straight. Take it out and use it right away.
Oh, okay. I do that simply because
you're supposed to or not, but I never did.
Yeah, there's so many things that we have in everyday use. Like when I was working with computers and stuff, they always told me with my laptop, if I've got it out in the car, don't use it for an hour after you bring it in during the wintertime. It has to stabilize room temperature. And I know there's a lot of different cleaners and stuff that have to be at room temperature that work. So I've kind of always gone with that rule for any of my finishes. Make sure they're at room temperature. So, but I do store CA in my refrigerator. I got one right outside the shop here. It's a backup refrigerator for us. So are there any questions before I finish?
President's Challenge for next month.
I want to see a CA finish. It doesn't have to be Parfix, but I want to see a CA finish on something, be it a bowl, a pen blank, or a vessel. But a CA finish. And you can do however you're comfortable with. Some of you have done CA finishes before. Do your normal method and just show it to us.
Can it be anything?
It can be anything turned, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't expect it to be exactly like mine or anything. Any other questions?
Jeff, you said Jeff, that has to be something that's turned, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please turn.
It can't be your fingers again, Zirkle.
I don't want to see this in a picture.
Paul, what you're saying is you want to see something that's hand carved, you want to see it turn on a lathe.
That's right.
Because this is a turning club, not a hand carving club.
I just looked up on Amazon those micro mesh. You can get a pack for $11.95.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And it'll last a year, at least.
Yeah, the trick with micro mesh is you just don't want to get it hot. Just like regular sandpaper, you don't want to get it hot. It breaks down faster than sandpaper.
Yeah, you'll burn right through it if you get it hot.
Hey, Jeff, you were saying that you're using it dry.
Yes.
Do you wash them after? Because
I don't. I blow them off with the air compressor.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get all that excess stuff off.
Okay.
So, any other questions before we continue on with the meeting? Okay, guys, you can switch me back to the computer view. I'll get my computer back down into place.
One thing, CA glues and super glues can be light fast, so you don't really want to keep it on your mantle or in the sun, or you don't want to keep it in a fridge or in your basement or in a cupboard. Then it won't degrade as fast. I keep my big bottles in the freezer, and then my smaller CA bottles stay in my shop, which doesn't have a huge amount of sun coming into it, but it gets used fast enough before it can degrade.
Yeah, yeah. Treat them like Purple Heart. Keep them out of the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, for those of you who haven't done demos and are kind of questioning whether or not you can do it, you just saw a perfect example, like Paul Newberger did with just a phone. That's all we did. And Chuck and Matt take care of the co-hosting duties of switching the cameras and everything. Or Chuck can come out to your location and film it while you just concentrate on your work. So I hope I taught somebody something today. That was the main idea. So I look forward to seeing what everybody has to present next month for the President's Challenge.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Good demo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Jeff.
This is like the old days when I used to perform. I'm not nervous anymore. So, but when you first start, it doesn't matter how seasoned you are. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's continue.
Bravo, bravo! So there you are. You feel at home now, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, and if you want to get Axe Wood Paste, right here, axewoodpaste.com.
Well, between the nipples.
They, yeah, right. They have one product, and that's the 2-pack. Comes like this, $28.80, and then you add on $8 shipping and handling, and it's basically the same as just this. So it's a much better priced product, although it works the same roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I've made my
You can
own.
also make your own.
You can also
Yeah.
make your own if you want to take the time to do that. I get it from Tom because I really support people like Tom, who's just a husband and wife doing this to help people. He doesn't have any big contracts with anybody. He mixes it up in his basement in a cement mixer and bottles
Is it wax?
Beg your
Sorry.
pardon?
I was just gonna say, is it wax based?
Yes, it's mineral oil and beeswax, and I think he also puts carnauba wax in it. It's essentially the same formula that is Hampshire Shine.
Oh, okay. I make mine with a boiled linseed oil base. That way I can put finishes over top of it rather than trying to put a finish over a wax.
Okay. What's the abrasive media you use in this?
What was that, Alfred?
Cade, what is the abrasive media you use in your mixture?
Diatomaceous earth.
Okay.
Mixed with linseed oil.
Yes.
Until it creates a paste.
Yes.
And then the linseed oil can absorb into the wood. The paste will wipe off with the paper towel, and it's oil based. So once that's dry, you can put any finish over top.
Beautiful.
Rather than most finishes, or a lot of finishes won't adhere over top of a wax. So if it was wax based, you would have to use a solvent of some kind to take that wax off, or sand it lightly off before you added some sort of finish over top.
Thank you.
That deciduous earth is what I gave you, Alfred.
What's that?
That deciduous earth, that's what I gave you that one time.
What was that, that white powder?
Yep, that's what it was.
Okay.
That's what they used to use in pool filters to filter the water.
Well, here's another piece of worthless trivia. It's also the grit that's used in toothpaste.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's totally food safe.
So it's food safe.
It's basically fossilized coral, I think it is.
It is, yes, because I was reading on that, and you can actually, I think you can buy it from any where you buy your plants. They sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's used to soften your ground.
It's a great.
It's also used to kill slugs and things that get on your plants. It tears apart the body of the slugs so that you don't have a problem with the slugs on your plants.
Yeah. So if you're one that doesn't like to use pesticides and stuff in your plants, you want to go all natural, that's a good product to have spread around in your garden and your flower bed and dust it on your plants.
It lances through their exoskeletons, and that's how it kills them. I hear people have also used it and microdosed it in some sort of smoothie or drink, and it really cleans out your GI tract.
I don't think I'm gonna try that.
Let us know how that works, Cade.
Maybe that's
Define microdose.
Maybe that's the stuff they give you for a colonoscopy, because that sure cleans it.
Yeah, it actually says it on the bag. I ordered my diatomaceous earth from Amazon, and it came in a 5-pound bag, and on the back it gave instructions of how you can use it for bugs or keeping unwanted insects or bugs out of your house or your plants, or for personal health.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with mineral oil. First time I ever bought mineral oil, I was in the drugstore. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I went to the druggist and asked where it was. He goes, it's a laxative.
Laxative,
Yeah.
I goes, I've never seen it used for laxative. He says, wait till you're about 70, 80 years old. So,
Eat prunes.
and what's scary is I'm getting close. So, well, let's get on with the meeting. Does anybody have a tool they want to review?
Yep. I don't have a tool, but I have a tip.
Okay. Who was that?
It was Howard.
Howard, let's highlight him.
Hey, I'm highlighted.
There he is.
There we go. Hi, guys. I always used to have a problem with hot glue, getting it, you know, if I would use it on a jam chuck or I would use it something, whatever. But I always have a problem of little nubules or separating the things. Did some research, and the answer to wood glue or to hot glue is rubbing alcohol, isopropyl. I have a little syringe that I just stick into the bottle of 98-cent isopropyl alcohol, squirt it onto the seam, squirt it onto the joint, let it seep in for 20 seconds, and you can break it right off. You can just separate it. And any of the little nubules that still stick onto one of the pieces, the wood piece that you want to keep, just put a little bit on a terry cloth towel, rag, whatever, and just a little bit of rubbing, and it'll come right off. And it has made just a world of difference. So I don't know if you guys know about that. I saw Matt was giving me a thumbs up on that.
I didn't know about that.
Well, it is isopropyl. It's you know, at the drugstore again, probably right down the shelf.
First aid.
The mineral oil there. But it, you know, 98 cents or $1.25 for 16 ounces, and it's a miracle worker for hot glue.
Howard, live steam works just as good.
Yeah.
Live steam?
Live steam.
Yeah. The natured alcohol does the
Does
same.
that come in a bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard, the natured alcohol does the same thing too.
I tried the natured.
Really?
Yeah, I tried the natured.
Isopropyl works better on hot glue.
Isopropyl seemed to work wonders beyond the natured.
Yeah,
it dissolves the plastics.
Interesting. Well, that makes it a tool. So this is a tool review.
There you go.
There you go.
Methyl hydrate and acetone will also work, but I mean much more noxious.
Yeah, acetone is just so stinky.
Yeah.
I've been using a little bit of acetone, mixing it into plastic wood to fill up a couple of small cracks. And you have to leave your shop. When you open up a can of acetone, you gotta just walk out.
Well, I use acetone, you know, to get super glue off my fingers and stuff, clean my bushings and so on. As a matter of fact, the micro tips that I was talking about from Starbond, when I'm done using them, I throw them into a jar of acetone overnight, and that just cleans them. I don't have to do anything with it. Then take them out, stick them on the shelf.
You know what? When I get a new bottle of CA, I put one of those little sliver tips on it, and I have never had a problem. I don't put the caps back on, and I've never had a problem with them clogging.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, I think the key is that just like if you had the bottle itself, the tip has to be clean. It has to be able to see through. And if you squeeze it a couple times, let air in and out,
Yeah.
you wipe the stem off and everything, you won't have a problem.
Yeah,
Right.
also by cleaning the tip, you're actually, because if it's gonna touch the wood, it's gonna create or pick up some of that wood or shavings, and
Right.
that one's gonna harden. So cleaning the tip found that works for me. I used to have that problem too, and then when I started cleaning it, just wiping it off and banging it a couple of times on the bench, I
Yeah.
never had any problems.
Yep.
Okay. Chuck?
I have a tool.
Okay, 1 second. Chuck?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to sign off from my phone. So if you see that, don't worry about it.
Okay.
And you know what's funny is I have got a streak of super glue or something up my phone. So I'm glad I got a screen cover on it. Because I'm going to need this for our next thing. So who had a tool?
I do.
Was that Cindy?
No, it's Kathleen.
Kathleen. Okay, let's get her highlighted.
She's highlighted.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
I bought these, I think, from Penn State Industries. They're carbide
Yeah.
worsted bits, and they cut through wood like a hot knife through butter. They're just fabulous.
I just got one last week for the first time, and I love it.
They got a little one. This is the one I used for the pepper mill, the 1-inch pepper mill.
Yeah.
Where did you get them?
I think at Penn State Industries.
Penn State.
And I forgot to bring it with me, but I also have extenders, and they really are nice.
Yeah. I got mine from Penn State Industries. You can also find them on Amazon.
Well, you know what, though? I ordered a couple from Amazon, different sizes. They're not as good.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
Go with the pros.
Hey, well, thank you. Yeah, they are great. I just my last hollow form, that vase that I showed with the resin in it.
Yeah.
I did that with the carbide tip, and it was wonderful. It didn't get real hot like a regular Forstner bit does, because I've had regular Forstner bits come out black. They got so hot. Yeah, I'm very pleased with that.
Rockler also sells a carbide.
Who does?
Rockler. I know I bought 35 millimeter and 5/8 and 7/8, and they don't have a large assortment like you do off the internet, but they do have some in stock there. And they've got the long shafts too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been using carbide cutters. I'd have them made because you couldn't buy them 20 or 30 years ago when I had them made. And the difference is phenomenal. Like a normal Forstner bit or a sawtooth bit, drilling what we drilled, it'd do about 40 or 50 holes before you had to sharpen it again. We do over 1,000 with the carbide cutters.
Mm-hmm. And the carbide cutters are easier to sharpen too.
Yeah, I send them to the saw doctor.
Yeah, just one flat surface.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, I got one.
Okay. That was Jay?
Yeah. So last week I was over at Ray's house.
Well, hold on. Let's get you. There you go. We got you highlighted.
There we go.
So last week I was over at Ray's house. Ray showed me on his lathe, he had one of these Veritas guys here for doing the burnishing on a piece of wood, mounted on the side of his lathe to make it easy to utilize. So I made this one yesterday. By the guys, where it literally just fits into my lathe like that. If I do have to raise a bead, a burr, it works real easy. And this thing doesn't go anywhere. I don't need a clamp for it or anything because it fits right into my waves right there. So I found that worked really good for me. And Ray gave me the idea. He had his clamp down to his lathe. I cut the dados in there so it just fits in there all by itself.
Nice.
It doesn't move.
Nice. I've seen those before, and I just wondered if they really were that good.
I'm sorry?
I've seen those before, and I just wondered if they were that good or if they were just one of the many gimmicks that are out there.
I just literally made it yesterday, so I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to hear about that.
Yeah, I have
Excellent.
one of
I've
those.
been using one for years and that works great.
Yeah, they do. They actually come with 2 pins here. One is a taper. They have 2 different tapers. It depends on the taper you have on your scraper. The only thing we have to watch with them, you cannot press too hard against that pin because you're gonna creating a big burr and you're gonna defeat the purpose of what you're using it for. Because you normally wanna take the burr off the grinder because that's too irregular and rough. And once you flatten it on the surface, you put it in there, you just create a nice fine burr. But the thing with it is you have to use it very lightly just to create a very small burr. But they do work. And as I said, they come with 2 different pins here. They have 2 tapers.
Very cool.
Nice. Thank you, Jay.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else got a tool?
I do.
Oh, who's
I
that?
got one, Jeff.
Was that Mike?
Yeah, it was Mike.
That's Mike. I got it. Okay, I had to hold space bar down. I couldn't show. For those of you who use the inertia sanders and it doesn't do a good job or you can't control it well, Woodturner's Wonders sells these angled drills that work really well for getting on the inside of a bowl. I'm happy with it. I think it was $79.
Okay. And I hear that that trigger is very easy to control the speed.
It is, and they have a guide up here, not a guide, but a guard up on top, so that you're not hitting the chuck, and your fingers aren't being rubbed by the chuck.
Oh, nice. Do you use it with the guard, or do you take the guard off?
No, it's integral to the.
Oh, it's built in.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Anybody else got a tool?
I have the Milwaukee version of that drill, and it does not have that guard. I can tell you I've caught it several times, especially when you're turning the key to tighten it up. So that's innovation. It looks like a nicer unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very well built, heavy duty. It is a little heavier, but to me that means that the motor is a little better than what you would get on a regular drill or something.
I use the old Harbor Freight 90 degree, and it lasts me about 4 years, and the gears burn out. The motor runs fine, but the gears burn out. I just go get another one for 30 bucks, you know. But no, I've seen a lot of people using that. It looks like a really nice tool. Anybody else got a tool? Okay, shall we move on to President's Challenge? Or no, Facebook's Challenge is next. Shall we do that?
Yes.
We had 31 people post on Facebook, which is right in average what we've been getting since we've started this challenge. I've got my handy dandy, oh, let's get me highlighted. I got my handy dandy random number selector set to 31. I am going to hit the randomizer button. The winner is number 9. That's Oliver Small. I think he's one of our new members. I don't know if he's with us today, but Oliver Small wins a gift certificate for craft supplies. Let me write that in there. Okay, next is the Facebook challenge. I'm going to share my screen and show you the pictures of what we got. There we go. So we're going to start off with Glenn McCullough. Oh, everything's slow today. Let's see if I can get the gang out of the way here. So Glenn turned a box with feet. Nice job. Next is Jim Lindsay. Next is Jim Strohmeyer. Kind of hard to see, but there's 3 feet there. Cade Bolger. This came in, I think, Friday. Beautiful piece of work. Kathleen Gardner. Is that candy in there? Oh, guess
No, that's marbles. I just use them to, not marbles, but glass stones. I use them to hold up the host.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be blood. If anybody knows what an offertory is, wine and nose.
Okay. Nice work.
Thank you.
This is Mike Foydell. He sent 2 pictures of this because this picture doesn't show the feet. So there's the feet. He even put toes on his feet. Nicely done. This is Mike Lenaway.
Like that.
Yeah. Trying to get the people. There we go.
I really like that piece. It's excellent.
This is Paul Newberger. Did some texturing with it. Very nice. Also Paul Newberger. Paul Zirko. Very nice. Phil Stevens. Richard Megnick. He actually did, he gave us 2 pictures. There's a tea light and there's a potpourri box. Beautiful wood too. Ron Pullman, 4 feet on that one. Sandy Doran. Whoop, that's it. So let me get back and get my checker. That was a total of 12 people that participated. So we're going to reset this to 12. And we're going to hit the randomizer. And the winner of a Craft Supply gift certificate is Jim Strohmeyer. Jim wins the certificate. So write that down there. Okay, that's Facebook and President's Challenge. Thank you everybody for participating in that. I think Facebook.
Hey, Jeff?
Yes.
Do we get to do Facebook challenge? Do we get to do President's Challenge if it wasn't on Facebook?
It had to be posted on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's the rules.
Can I show mine just for fun anyway?
You most certainly can. Let's highlight Jay.
Cool. So, I turn my camera around. There. Nope. There we go. There we go. So this one I actually used for 2 different clubs. The Grand River Club had a lost wood challenge, so we had to do something that was done like this. I decided to do the feet on it also, so I could be in both clubs. So this piece is out of oak, and it's got 4 legs on it, and it was fun to make.
It's cool. I like that.
That's actually a nice demonstration we should do for our club also for the lost wood thing.
Yeah, that would be great. You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I'll do that.
Cindy, write his name down.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I think
Yeah, definitely.
It was a lot of fun to do.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jay.
Cool.
And that kind of puts us right into the next thing perfectly, is show and tell. Has anybody got anything they want to show us that they've created in their shop? I know you're all out there turning like crazy.
All right, I'll show something if you were only, people are waiting.
Highlight Mr. Newberger. There it is.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Is that acrylic or is that a paint?
It is CA glue finish over sycamore over epoxy. So the blue is epoxy, blue tinted epoxy.
Okay.
And then I couldn't find anything black, so I used charcoal for the black. So, and then the stand is I don't want to drop the dang ball. Is a twisted piece, offset turn.
Nice.
So I got my CA finish on this thing. And I haven't actually entered into a show. I don't know whether I'm in the show yet at the Hatch Gallery. I got 3 pieces I entered. I won't know till sometime tonight whether I've got it, if I've been accepted.
Ah, wow. Fingers crossed for you, buddy.
Yeah, I've seen that piece, and that eyeball is really, really nice. Congratulations. Good job, Paul, on that one.
I got 4 more in the process, and it's going to be an iPod when I'm done. So.
Nice. There's a gentleman I follow on YouTube, Andy Phillips, who makes eyes a lot.
These are so simple, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, Paul.
The combination you have on that, they came perfect. You have that dark ring on the outside of it, and it came phenomenal.
Well, you know what? Well, I also have the little Christmas tree, the piece that from the stage that we did, the inside out.
Yeah, so you just hollowed out the bottom of it, stuck the T-lamp light in?
Right.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I bought a whole lot of wood over at Public Lumber, and Alfred and I cut a whole bunch into staves, and I've been giving some of it away.
Oh, great. Great. Well, thank you. Anybody else got something to show?
Well, I guess I'll go on.
Okay, let's highlight Alfred.
This is something that I had, I think I had it on Facebook. This is something that I started, wow, maybe 5, 6 years ago down in Arrowmont. It was like a side job I was doing there. And then it wasn't finished. It was just turned, and I had the outline here, and that's it, nothing else. And I brought it home. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, so it sat there for a long while on the bench. And then I did these holes here with different diameters on it. And that's what I'm going to do with down here. So it stayed there for another long time. And what those are, they're actually burned. Each one is burnt in. There's a hole in there. And then I used 3 different colors of metallic paints. And with a Q-tip, I just wanted it to lay just on the top. I didn't want to go into the hole, so I have 3 different colors. I have blue, gold, and turquoise on this one. And the finial it comes off. Oh, I want to mention this for people who do a lot of finials. I took a class with Samuel Avellino, and this is one of his signature finials where you have, it's about a 3/4 inch diameter hole, and this is a kind of a slip fit in here. But the idea is that when you turn it like that, it's not gonna fall. You know, us wood turners, the first thing we do is we just go like that to see the bottom, right? And but because it has this long shaft on it, even when you turn it like that, it's not gonna fall off. So we got that from him, and so that's that. And I got, you know, multiple coats of satin lacquer on this one. So that's one. And I had this. I don't know. Did I put this on? Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What I wanted to show is this piece. Let's do this one. This piece came out of here like that. And the way I cut that, because I had some people asking me, how did you cut that? I just put a 5/8 diameter hole here, and then I used an electric metal saw from Harbor Freight, and I just cut this like that. And then to do the rabbit for the zip, I just use this. It's a saber tooth. This is the fine one that they just come up with, and it's called the safety edge, because here there is no grit. And so what happens is when you're going down here like that, you can actually cut a nice fine line here without going this way, and you can get any depth that you want. And it's very controllable because it's a fine. The only thing you have to watch with this is you can only go towards you, because if you go the other way, you're gonna climb cut. Like everything going, you know, it's like using anything else that goes around. You can't go down. You have to go always pull towards you, because you will be climb cutting. But yeah, this has well, the color is not really showing, but the inside is black, and that's all I got.
Okay, great.
It's like a good demo, Alfred.
Yeah, I've been told that already.
Yeah, we're putting the pressure on. Okay, anybody else got show and tell?
Oh, before I go, I was watching Dean Grimes. He does these crosses, So I thought, you know, with Easter coming, I thought, well, that would be a good time to do these crosses. So I did a bunch of them here, you know, so to give them to the family and our grandkids. And like this one, this, you know, they came up from the backyard. This is apple. And I got the wood from the backyard. It's full of holes here because, you know, the bugs got to it. And so I got a bunch of different ones. This is apple too. So I made 8 so far. I don't know how many more I'm gonna have to do before Easter comes. So
those all one piece, Alfred?
yeah, this is all one piece.
Good.
Yeah, and I did some of them. They're offset too, like this one. You can actually see it's offset like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yep, very good. Thank you.
It's really simple to turn.
Yeah.
I just did do this between centers, you know, like that. And the only thing you have to watch is this diameter has to be this diameter and this diameter. So here you have a ring going around, and then you take it on the table saw and you just cut. You cut this way and you cut that way and you have the cross. Really,
Yeah, very
really,
nice. Thank you.
it's very, very simple project.
Yeah.
But the
I like it.
The important is this here has to be perfectly straight. So you put a ruler in here and you can ensure, you know, that the disc is straight, the same here, and the thickness has to be the same. Otherwise you get a lot of undulations into it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Alfred.
Oh, you're welcome.
Beautiful work, Alfred.
Alfred, how did you hold that on the table saw so it didn't twist on you?
Yes, so what I did, I used one of those, I forgot what they call them, those wooden clamps. And I held it like
Well, Jorgensen clamp.
Jorgensen clamp, that's it. I held it like that, okay? And what I did is I pushed it down so it's resting. And I used a piece of plywood here with a 0, so we make it a 0 clearance. And you just push it through, pull it back, go to the other side, push it through, and you're back. So this is all the time held. You only hold the clamp. You never, your hands are never close here.
Was it on the table saw or the
bandsaw?
Thank you.
Right?
Because your clamp is sitting on the table, it's gonna hold it perfectly straight. You know, it's not gonna go anywhere like this when you go from one side to the other.
When is the workshop? When is the workshop in this one, Alfred?
Well, that's a 10-minute job.
Yeah, but when you explain it, it takes longer.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, I've got some of those. I've got one of those too I can show. So mine started off with a cross section of a piece of wood like this, and I'm preferential to the Celtic crosses. So, and you guys can see that this is a little bigger. I found it was easier to do the band sign this way, so that I got it lined up a little better when I was setting it up. So, you know, mine's a little off center too, and I did some aberrations on the base, but that's my version of that. And I made some that were boxes that you unscrewed this, and there was a box section in here you could put stuff like ashes in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one suggestion I have too is, as Matt is saying, because you're really not seeing where the blade is touching because you're coming from the back. If you touch the back of the blade first and then you turn it, then you come parallel with the stem.
Yeah, the first ones I made when I was pushing the cross into the blade like this is I would cut a little deeper than I wanted to on this section of the cross. So if I started the other way, then I could set the blade up right where I wanted to and then just pull it past.
Yes.
Matt and both Alfred, are you using a faceplate on there when you're turning them?
No, just between center.
Yeah, and if you really want to get creative and do the top, you can, you know, do the top. You can just make a tenon like you normally would and hold it tenon.
No, I just held it between the centers here like that, and you know, like I undercut it here, and then I cut it and just left a very small end, and here there was just the diameter of my drive center there, And all I did, I cleaned the bottoms of everything with a air grinder. You know, I have with air, it goes so fast, and you know, I put it on low RPM, and it just grinds it off real fast. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got show and tell?
After that,
Every piece is a piece of art.
Can I show something?
Sure thing. Who was that?
This is Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
You've got to turn your video
Hi.
on. You've got to turn your video on.
I'm
Rebecca.
here.
All right. There you go.
Hi.
Hi, Rebecca.
Oh my
Welcome.
gosh.
Paul Newberger was trying to challenge you with that eye.
Here, you're in the club now. Welcome.
I am.
Yes,
I'm
welcome.
officially an out-of-state member. Okay, so I'm going to show you my eyes. I'm going to show you because I've got the eyeballs. Hold on. I've got a whole bucket of them. I've got stuff to knock over. Okay. I have eyes
So
in
you
all
were,
different
you were
colors.
unprepared for this, Rebecca? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, well, I wasn't expecting the eyes. Give me a sec. I'm gonna flip the camera around. I've got my bucket of eyeballs. Ah.
That's the one you're working on the demo for the demo. I know.
That one?
Yeah. Does it like, is it motorized? Do the jaws open and close?
It's not motorized. These are my eyes. And they're all resin, ready to go in all different colors, and they turn really nicely.
Cool.
I've got some other examples. If you walk past my legs.
Nice legs.
Seems you're doing a lot of body parts.
How many
I'm
people would say
making-
that about their shops?
I'm making this necklace piece. It's some people would call it a statement piece, and that's what the eyes are for. I'll show you over here.
Because two eyes are
Right.
just not good enough.
No, definitely not. So the eyes are all going to poke through the different holes.
Oh.
Yeah. And be all sorts of crazy weird, as I like to do.
No,
Interesting
I
statement.
like that.
What was that?
It's an interesting statement.
You're bringing that to Ron's?
Maybe. I don't know. I might wear it on the plane. Who knows?
Well, that'll be
And
fun
then
in TCA.
Right? Miss, what are you wearing? Nothing. So this is an example piece that I had ready for my demo that I did yesterday for a couple of the Canada clubs. They were both out of Saskatchewan, but this was my example that I don't quite have finished yet, but it's a little hollow form box. And I don't have it finished because I'm doing my finial in multiple pieces, and then I'm going to have spikes come out of the sides.
Oh, cool.
So should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you want to see another in progress piece that nobody else has seen at this stage?
Sure.
Every chance we get.
We can keep a secret.
Okay. So this is the piece that I'm working on right now. And these stalks are going to come out. And the sketch originally had them where they kind of flip out to the sides and point up, but I don't like that anymore because I didn't get the curve in the stalk the way I wanted it to. So now they're actually going to be inverted and they're going to point out. So in each of those is this little orb. And so when it's all assembled and ready, which if I focus on it, I could assemble it today, but I'm probably not going to be focused. In each of the stalks is this little orb thing that's going to stick out, and it's kind of resembling an eye, but
What are the
it's not
orbs, Rebecca? Did you make those too?
yeah, and they're just illuminate that I turned.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Rebecca.
So yeah, this is my one of my later creations, which again I could assemble it today, but we'll see if that actually happens. And that's
For those of
I
you
look
who've
forward to
never
seeing
been-
that on
For
Instagram.
those of you who've never been around Rebecca and I, she harasses me the same way I'm harassing her. So.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Rebecca and I are actually going to finally meet this year.
Yay! Are you going to Ron's?
Yes. I was the first one to sign up because he needed to test his PayPal. And I called him up because American didn't have anything on his rooms and stuff. So he says, okay, I'm heading over there now. Then he called me back. He says, can you sign up right now? I want to test my PayPal. So it was like Thursday before.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to an actual event.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good. I've missed it so much.
Yeah.
I have too. I think everybody has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
I miss everything. Well,
I do
Rebecca,
too.
thank you, and welcome to the club.
Thanks.
We're glad
I'm
you're
excited.
a member. So,
Me too.
Thanks for the shop tour. That was cool.
Oh, thanks.
anybody else got a show and tell? So that's it for this month then? Okay.
That must be it.
Well, just a reminder, everybody, next Saturday is our workshop. Alfred is going to teach us the proper way to sand and do it right so we get a perfect finish before we put our finishes on. And then next month's meeting, we'll have John Jordan demoing. So it'll be a members only. So if you're a guest and you're not a member, this might be a good time. And if it's outside of the Detroit area, another state, another country, whatever, we have a link on our webpage, on the homepage, called Friends of DAW, where you can join for $30. Just make sure you fill out that membership form that's in the club info tab and send that into Mark Wallace. The address is all right on the form. And that way we got a file on you and you'll always know about what's going on. So without further ado, that's it for this month. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Learned a lot. And until we meet again, stay safe in your shop and wherever you go, and keep making those shavings, as Captain Eddie would say. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.
Hasta la vista.